Hello and welcome to another episode here on my channel. My name is ChaosMole and today I want to give you my first thoughts of the release of New World. Is this a review? No, this is not a review. Especially because I do not believe that I have played the endgame long enough to really give you a good overview on what this game is all about and how this game is using all its important parts like PvP, crafting, PvE, and so on and so forth. And let's be honest here, that's what this game is about. Endgame. It's what MMOs are always about. It is the endgame. And a game can rise and fall through the endgame it offers. And no, I haven't seen enough of the endgame, so this isn't a review. But I want to talk about some gaming systems which everyone has already encountered, and there is a lot to talk about. Now, you will probably notice that I talk about a lot of positive things, but then I will mention also some negative things here and there. Keep in mind though, everything I am mentioning is fixable. There's nothing like super problematic in the game where you just think, oh wow, they would take months, if not even years, if any, to fix this. No, that's not what we have in this game. There are a lot of underlying systems which all work, but they need improvement. That is basically the point I would try to convey here in this video. So, let's talk about this. The first thing I want to talk about is the world design, the graphics, and you can see it already here in the background, right? Like, it is a very pretty looking game which runs pretty well, and the moment you are landing on this island, it looks really, really pretty, especially if you're walking through a forest. Like, this game has one of the best forests I have ever seen in the game. And believe me, I have played a lot of games and MMOs, and most of the time, forests are just, okay, here are 3 different looking trees, and we just copy paste them 100 times. We're putting some bushes here and there, and some critters running around, and we got our forest. And it's like, okay. And New World doesn't do that. Like, they have so many different tree variation, bushes, like small stone, flint, and just so much going on in this forest that you really feel like, oh wow, I'm in a forest here. Like, this is amazing. And it's not just the forest area. Like, as I said, the moment you are landing on this island, you feel like this feels like our Earth. Right? There is a lot of similarity to a lot of areas we have here on our planet, and it feels very realistic. But with that said, there's also something alien about all of this. Like, the moment you land, you have those statues which just don't fit in. Then you start to see like the zombies and monsters, and you realize, whoa, okay, and here's the fantasy. And they make it work. Like, it doesn't feel like as if the fantasy is in the way of the realism or vice versa. Like, it actually really works well together. And they have done such an amazing job with the world design. Like, some areas completely transform at night or when it is still like the day or in the morning. Like, thanks to the graphics, they can do so much. And the sound design is absolutely fantastic. Like, when you do the crafting, when you do the fighting, when you do the harvesting, like, it is such a satisfying sound to just listen to the chopping of the trees or the mining of the stone. Like, it's just spot on. And it's like, wow, yeah, this feels great. And then you realize that at around level 15, you have basically seen 90% of all the enemies in the game. And it is so disappointing. Like, I have seen a lot of MMOs where they like to copy paste enemies and then change the color a little bit or give them some extra armor piece. It's normal, right? That happens in every game, and it's not something unusual as some people make it out to be. Like, it's a pretty normal occurrence. But I think New World is taking it to the top. Like, you are still fighting the same zombies, skeleton wolves you have been fighting at level 1 till up to the end game. Even in the dungeons, where normally MMOs try always to have like the unique enemies, they all just look the same. And it is so unfortunate because, as I said, the whole world design, magnificent. Like, absolutely pretty. And then you have the creature design, and it's like, well, Skeleton 1, 2000, again. Cool. Fun. It's weird. It's absolutely weird, and I hope they're adding some variety sooner or later to the game, because it's the only thing which really, I don't know, like, as if they have blown the whole budget for design on the world, and then they realized, oh shoot, we have to fill the world with monsters and animals. We don't have the money nor the time for this, so let's just copy paste everything. Like, it's really weird in the new world how it feels. Speaking of monsters, let's talk about the fighting. Another fantastic thing in this world. Like, the fighting feels really fluid, and I'm not a big fan of third-person action-oriented MMOs. I'm really not. I don't normally like Elder Scrolls Online. I didn't really like Wild Stars because of it. Like, all those games never really clicked with me. I'm an old school MMO player. Tab targeting, like in World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, Dark Age of Camelot, and so on and so forth. That's my spiel, you know. This normally isn't. But New World is just nailing it. Like, the animations feel fluent. You feel the weight in your attacks depending on which weapon you are using. Like, when you're using a two-handed hammer, it feels heavy because of the sound design and the animations. But if you're using a rapier, like, it feels super fluent, super fast. There's a lot of dodging and fluidity in the animation and movement. And it's just like, whoa, it's fantastic. Like, you feel the hits on the enemy, or when you use sword and board and you block and the enemy is just hitting you up front, you feel the weight on that hit. It's fantastic. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. I really love the fighting system. And the same goes with character development, which is also very important for the fighting system, because the character development is giving you all the freedom you need. Like, you want to be a two-hand fighter with strength? Well, you can also use light armor for that, or medium armor, or heavy armor. Or you want to be a healer with heavy armor? Yeah, you can totally do that. Like, thankfully, the game is giving you a lot of equipment, which is just a good mix so that you can make your character progression a reality. And the same goes, of course, for the talent tree and whatnot, where you think, man, so I would love to be a rapier wielding healer. That doesn't necessarily make the most sense, but you can make it work to a certain degree. You can make it work. Of course, it would not be the min-max build, that's for sure, but the game is giving you a lot of freedom here. Which brings us to the weirdness of this whole system. So first things first, let's go back for a second to the fighting system here, where I have moments where I realize that the fighting system is using a scan system, so a hit scan detection. So that means when you are swinging your weapon, you're not really swinging your weapon. The only thing you have to do is you have to aim at the enemy. And if the enemy is not in the crosshair when you do the attack, then you will miss. Or let me give you a super simple example. I was hunting some bisons, and I was coming from the side, and I was using my triple tap of my spear, and all triple taps were going through the bison, doing 0 damage. And I was like, wait, is the bison bugged? What's going on here? No, the bison wasn't bugged. Apparently, when I did my special ability, I was aiming between the feet of the bison. And the game was like, well, there's no enemy there. Like, no matter where your spear is now hitting, you didn't hit the enemy because your crosshair was not directly aiming at the bison and your spear was hitting just air. I was like, oh no. I understand that helps with like range attacks and whatnot, but that's a bit annoying. It's really unfortunate. And the same goes with the item and stat system. Like as I said, it gives you a lot of freedom, but it's completely random. And when I mean completely random, I mean completely random. Like I had moments where I found a staff, and on that fire staff was strength and dexterity on it. And you were just like, oh no, what should I do with a staff with strength and dexterity on it? That doesn't make any sense. Or when you find some armor where you find strength on a light armor, and you are like, okay, 15 strength on a light armor, yeah, I could make this use. And then you see the perk, and the perk is like, oh yeah, so your fire staff will now do more damage. I was like, no, I can't make this happen. This is a useless combination. Like, the fire stuff just works with int. I don't need strength for my equipment. Or when I use the strength equipment for my strength weapons, I don't need a perk for an int weapon on this. It just doesn't make sense. And it happens a little bit too often. It's really unfortunate because when you find an item and you were like, oh my god, this item could... No, wait, no, this item is shit. Yeah, no, thanks. Like, it's really unfortunate. It really is. And I would love to see it a little bit less random. Like, as I said, if you already have like strength on an armor piece, you don't give me a staff perk or a bow perk even. Like, they just don't work. It doesn't function. It's as simple as that. It's a useless item you have to salvage or something like that, and it's unfortunate. Speaking of items, well, let's talk about the crafting, shall we? And man, the crafting is in depth in this game. Like, it's so much that, especially when you were starting out in the game and you were looking at all the crafting stuff you can do, you might get overwhelmed. Which is good, because yes, it might be a little bit more problematic at the beginning, but the moment you have the hang of it, there is so much more to do. And farming is actually fun. Like, the sound design and the animation really makes it feel like you are logging wood or you are mining whatever you mine right now. Like, it makes you feel like whatever you do for your crafting feels good. It just feels good. And the same goes, as I said, with the crafting system. You can craft so many things which are useful for yourself and your group or your guild or whatever. You can sell it. Like, as I said, crafting doesn't feel like a second thought. It is one of the main ingredients of this game, and it's great. It just feels great. I'm right now leveling through crafting. I don't really do anything else. Yes, it's slow. It's not fast. There are much faster ways out there. But it is so much fun and I love to do it. So I don't mind at all. Which brings us to the crafting itself. I'm a bit disappointed that they didn't decide to use the Final Fantasy XIV EverQuest 2 system. So if you've never played those games, what you can do is you can, as you can do in this game, just sit down, say, craft me 15 swords, and then you wait 20 seconds, and then you have those 15 swords, right? And what you can do in EverQuest 2 and Final Fantasy XIV is that you can actually decide that you want to single-handedly craft an item. So that means your character sits down, starts a minigame where you are heating up the sword, you have to work the metal, you have to put in the components, you have to manage your stamina, you have to manage like the durability of the item, that it doesn't break, and so on and so forth. And depending on how good you are at that, the higher the item level. And it could totally work in this game. I'm like, why haven't you put that in? Especially later on when you start to craft like the blue or even epic items. It takes a little bit out of the experience when you are just sitting down and you say, okay, craft me this blue heavy chest 10 times. And let's hope I get the good stuff. Like it doesn't feel really great. And that system would definitely enhance the experience quite a bit, and I would love to see that at some point. Now that we have talked about that, let's talk about PvP. Another core principle in this game. And here again, the PvP is fun. Like 1 versus 1, smaller group PvP, big Zerg PvP. You can capture cities, territories, forts. I think later on you can even like capture castles, which I'm not sure if it is implemented yet, but they are highlighting it already a little bit on the map. And like there's so much. You can get your PvP reputation, you can get items from PvP, you can get good XP from PvP. Like PvP feels fun and rewarding. And this is also thanks to the whole idea that there's a system in place. And let's say you are level 10. You're running around and a level 20 enemy attacks you. In other games, you're dead. You're just dead. In this game, there's a system in place which makes you relative even. Not completely even, but relative even. And so you don't fear going out there and doing PvP as much because you know, there's a high level character. Well, the system is in place. I can actually make this. So it's less frustrating. And that's great. And then you realize that the best way of doing PvP right now is not doing PvP. Wait, what? Yeah. So if you want to capture territories and if you want to start wars against other factions, then the best way of starting that is not doing PvP. You are starting the PvP quests, which you are getting from your factions leaders or faction representatives, whatever they are in the cities. And all those quests are not really linked to PvP. Like you have to go into an area, you have to stay there for 90 seconds, you have to collect an item and bring it to another area you are already in, and then you have to kill like 5 animals which are running around in that area too. And then you are turning those quests in. There's nothing to do with PvP. But it doesn't have to, Mole, because when there is another faction running around in that area, they will of course attack each other. No, they won't. Why? Because when you die, you lose your PvP quests. No matter how much you did, you will lose your PvP quests. Just like that. You have to completely redo them from scratch. And because of that system, most people have no interest in PvP. They just want to do their quest quickly, get their rewards, and most people decided to just run away whenever there is PvP, because running away in this game is a solution. Especially because they are not like a lot of abilities how you can keep up with a person. Or well, they are abilities, but you cannot use them as often as you like. And really just running is a viable solution here. So that's what a lot of people do. They do the quests super quickly, and even if there should someone be there who wants to do PvP, they just try to evade them and then run at home as quickly as possible. And that's really unfortunate. So they have to do something about that. Like maybe they could make it so that the quests do not disappear, and then they have to do a little bit more, or they have to link them to actual PvP activities. Like, they have ways how they can fix this problem. And I hope they are doing that because, as I said, the PvP is fun. But if the best solution for getting your PvP stuff done is to, like, just, don't do PvP, it's unfortunate. But what is the TLDR? Well, the TLDR is New World has an amazing foundation. But a good chunk of the already existing gameplay elements need work. They need updates, upgrades. They don't need to be swapped out or anything. They just need to be updated. And I would say it's all doable. But I think there is one way to describe New World and all its systems in a perfect way. There is this moment in New World which is just showing the problem of this game. Let me explain. When you were walking towards water and you walk into the water, you think now, well, two things will now happen in video games. A, you're starting to swim, or B, you're just standing knee deep in the water and your character is pretending as if there is an invisible wall and they cannot go any further because, well, swimming doesn't exist in the game. New World is like, no, you can walk into the water. There is no swimming. But you can just walk into the water and you walk underneath the water like an undead. And it's like, really? You can just walk through the water or under the water? There's no swimming, no jumping. You have 20 seconds to get out of the water again because then you are out of air. And I think that encapsulates New World perfectly right now. There's a lot of quality here. Until the moment you were starting to walk under the water, everything screams just high quality. And there is this last bit which just feels they run out of time, money, or became lazy. I can't really explain what it is, but that's basically what I have explained in the last 20 minutes with all the systems in place. They're high quality, they always feel great, and then there is this last bit which just feels completely off. And they have to fix that. And I'm sure they will. So, should you play this game? If you enjoy all the things I just said and you can overlook all the things I just said, yeah, this is a fun game. I have my fun with it. But I will be also honest. I said I will not buy this game. And I got a key from Amazon. So thank you very much for that. And that's why I now play this game and why I also create content for it. But my previous plan was to hold off for another 6 months or even year and see if they fixed like all the things. And that's the decision you have to make right now. So, with that said, we are done for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're on your way out, I would appreciate if you click the like button. If, well, you didn't like this video for whatever reason, there's a dislike button right next to it. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see more New World videos and content and also gaming news and reaction videos to all the big gaming events, then you came to the right channel, and I would appreciate if you might consider to subscribe to it. If you do so, please don't forget to click on the bell icon, because if you don't click the bell icon, you will never ever hear from me ever again, even though you subscribe to me, and that would be useless when you think about it. So, if you do that, I would gladly appreciate it. If you ever want to catch me live, you can also do that from Monday to Friday, starting at 9 a.m. ET, with more in the morning and gaming news, and then a lot of gameplay from different games which are coming out, and you can do so at trovo.live/ChaosMole. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Stay safe.